dessert making workshop, Sweet Hungary. We are very, very happy that so many of you turned up. Let me introduce our pastry chef, Szabolcs Böszörményi, who's also the chef of this restaurant, the Rosemary. There will be a part when our pastry chef will ask you to join him for a few steps.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are here tonight in the Rosemary restaurant, and I'm gonna be your guide to bake the Dobos cake, which is a very famous Hungarian torta or tort or cake. And Dobos Joseph, he created the cake in 1884. He was a Hungarian chef master, and he had a very big tradition of, even his granddad was a chef, and he had a patisserie, a big restaurant, so he was experimenting with this cake. It's not the easiest cake to bake, but tonight I'm gonna make it to you as easy as possible. Here's the egg white. I would like you to put a pinch of salt in it first. So we got some powdered sugar, and then I'm gonna slowly add it to it. Okay. You can slowly raise the.
Even higher?
Yes. Yeah, don't be afraid. Even higher. Yeah. I'm gonna melt the butter because we're gonna need the melted butter for this. Just on a really, really low heat, so it's gonna melt. What we want to do, we want to beat the egg whites, not 100% of the way, but like 3/4. So they are not really hard, because that's gonna make the pastry much more fluffy. It's gonna be much nicer. In the meantime, the butter is melting. If you can see that, just on a really low heat. So we're just gonna melt it, and then we're gonna leave it like that. Let me see. Yeah, very good. If you see, it's hard, but still a bit soft. Thank you very much. Now, I'm gonna beat the egg yolk, and if you beat first the egg white, then you can use. You don't have to wash it because you can beat up the egg yolk. But if you do first the egg yolk, then you need to wash it because the egg whites are really. They need to be everything clean. Just turn it on here slowly. Yeah. In the beginning, you can do it a bit slowly, and then. Put in the sugar, yeah, okay. You can raise up the speed, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, more. Full. One more. Yeah, okay. So while she's doing that, I'm gonna show you how you can prepare that at home. Because we're gonna use these baking trays, and you're gonna have a 22 centimeter diameter sponge. So what you can do, you can use any fills, and you can draw a circle around it. And this is for us to know later on. Yeah? And when you turn it upside down, then it's on the other side, so it's safe to put the sponge cake in. You're gonna put 2 sponge cake in one tray. You cannot fit all them at once. So in that case, I would advise just to prepare 1/3 of the whole sponge, and then just cook 2, and then do again 2 and another 2. So if you can see the color, it's almost like white, and the foam is doubled inside. You're gonna transfer it to a larger bowl to mix it. Some of the egg whites, we put it in there. So with that, we're gonna soften a little bit the egg yolk, so make it more creamy. Okay. And when it's done, you can put the rest, but this time we're gonna make sure not to break the foam. So we're gonna stir it quite gently, like this stirring motion. And because we don't use any baking powder, we want to make sure that the sponge is nice and fluffy, so it's gonna be a nice layer in the cake. Okay. So when we almost mixed it, now we have the flour, which I already filtered through, so it's not gonna be in any big lumps. And you can mix it in with the whole sponge. Okay. And when you have like 80% mixed the flour, then we can add that in as well. And just mix that all together. We're gonna divide it into 6 pieces. You're gonna make circular motions, and from the inside, you want to put it to the side until the line is there. Use a little bit from the sponge to the bottom so it sticks the paper there, and the fan not gonna just blow it away and then ruin your cake. You're gonna have 4 whole eggs and 200 grams of sugar melted together. What we're gonna do, we're just gonna mix the eggs and you just stir it continuously. And then I'm gonna check the temperature from time to time, because you don't want it to more than 75 definitely, but something like 65, 75. So the egg whites are not separated. Yeah, stir it, stir it. Now I have this temperature thermometer.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we reach 60, and because the pan is hot, thank you very much, sir, it's still gonna be a bit up, so until it's there, don't stop stirring. So it's now about 65, 70 degrees. So what we're gonna do now, just gonna pour it in here. While it's gonna cool down, we're gonna beat it into a foam. We're gonna have some cocoa butter and some dark chocolate, and we're gonna melt first the cocoa butter because it's kind of like a fat, like an oil. We melt this one first, and then we put the dark chocolate, so the dark chocolate not gonna burn. So it's almost gone, so now we can pour the dark chocolate in. Yeah, slowly. And just keep continuing. Oh yeah. So now that it's melted, we're gonna check the temperature, 40, it's around 40 degrees. You can make it cool down quicker with using some cold water. So now we're gonna use this, so the chocolate is gonna cool down and it's gonna be at the correct temperature. What we want now is to find the nicest sponge. This is gonna be on the top. You're gonna sprinkle it with some flour a little bit. We're gonna cover it and we're gonna put something on top to make it a bit more flat. While it's still hot, it's gonna make it a bit nicer, flatter. So when I'm gonna make the top of the cake, it's gonna be much easier. Still 24 hot, okay? So that's what we wanted. Okay, 25. It's almost cooled down. Okay. The room temperature butter. Now with the butter, it's getting nice and creamy. We add the cocoa powder to it. And we have the right temperature chocolate. And now I just slowly add it in. Or actually, you can stop it, open it up. Yeah, you see now it's much more chocolatey. And just add all the chocolate in. So when it's really light brown, you made the right mix. If it's more darker, then something was a bit too hot or not at the right process. There are 2 vanilla sugars. We're gonna add it in as well. Measure how much of the cream you're gonna use for each layer, and then they can be nice and even. Yeah, 131, that's fine. So what you want from the inside, you push it to the outside. Yeah, and it's very easy to work with it while it's still warm. when you have the sponges and they are sometimes a bit bigger, so we're just gonna cut it off like that. And now for the final touch, we're gonna use this tool. I'm not gonna put it like this, I'm gonna put it in an angle. So it's done. Now it can go to the fridge. So as you can see, the last sponge cake, because I put the weight on it, it's really nice and flat. So we're gonna use that and gonna caramelize some sugar and put it on top of it. Now, this can be dangerous. The sugar is 160 degrees, it can really burn you, so take caution. And what I do, I'm gonna put the spatula and the knife, which I'm working, into some butter, so it has some grease and it doesn't, the sugar doesn't stick to it. But when you start to do this, make sure you prepare everything enough at once, because then you're not gonna have much time to work with the sugar. So, here we got 190 grams of sugar. I'm gonna use around 1000 watts on this heater, and you can use like middle fire. I don't like to do it too hot, and in the beginning you don't stir the sugar. You can sometimes shake it because the bottom starts to caramelize slowly, and then you want the top sugar to go to the bottom so that one caramelizes as well and not just the bottom part burning, okay? Yes, we're almost there. Okay. So now we are ready to pour it. Okay. So I advise to leave a little bit, pour most of it first, and then if you still need for some place, you can still have some. But as you can see, now the sugar is set. And then we're gonna mark half of it. And now you can hear some pop sounds. It's perfectly fine. And if you do it at home, you can first try to just do half, with half the amount of sugar. So you cut the sponge first into half, and then you only do one half of it at one go, because then it might be easier if you try it first. Okay. Here is the cake I prepared earlier, and here are the top parts. And now we're just gonna put them all on the top, because that's the original way. Okay, so this is the Dobos cake.